Well, let's speak now to our Imam Zaid Shakir. He's a religious advisor to Muhammad Ali's family and joins us now by phone from Berkeley in California. Thank you very much for joining us on this very, very sad day. Can you just start by giving us your memories of Muhammad Ali?
Well, I think growing up as a young man, excuse me, in a poor community in the United States, Ali was an inspiration because a lot of the situations one encountered, Ali inspired one to rise up above those situations. Ali was an inspiration in that regard. He was also an inspiration in terms of courageously taking a stand on the basis of principle for what he felt was an unjust war. And again, that was tremendously inspiring for a lot of people, especially in poor neighborhoods that were bearing the brunt of the draft, where there was mandatory military service. Wealthy people, generally, and influential people could get away from that draft by going to college or using the influence of their parents to somehow escape it, or even affording to go to Canada or go to Europe. Whereas the poor communities who didn't have those advantages, they saw the devastation. They saw the people who didn't, the brothers and fathers and cousins and neighbors who didn't come home. They saw the alcoholism, the drug addiction, the injuries that many of the soldiers bore. So Muhammad Ali speaking out against that war was a great inspiration for many young people. He was also an inspiration in terms of his ability to represent the downtrodden and to speak for the voiceless. So when Ali was speaking, and he was speaking truth to power, as they say, and he was questioning the injustices, that resonated with people all over the world. And I think that's the reason he became so popular. There were great boxers before Ali, but they didn't become the most popular person on the planet during their times. Ali became the most popular person on the planet. And I think the reason for that is because of his humility, because of his willingness to risk everything, to risk his boxing career, to give up the money, to give up the lights, to give up the fame, on the basis of principle. And that's something I think that was greatly appreciated by many, many people, and that's something that inspired many people to try to live a life, a principled life, and try to be humble as they move down the road of life. So Ali was very inspirational in those ways, and I think it's important that we don't forget that.
When did you start to get to know the man behind the myth, as it were, the man away from the headlines and the spotlight?
Well, personally, I didn't get to know Ali intimately until maybe 6 years ago, when I began working with the family in an advisory capacity, and I had the opportunity to spend a couple days with Ali, very close in the home. And so that's when I really got to know him personally. So it was much later, but that phase of his life was also inspirational in the sense that he was dealing with many very serious health challenges, but he accepted it, he embraced it. He didn't run away from it. He didn't complain against his Lord. He accepted it very graciously, and he, with great humility, and he continued to smile, and until he became very weak, he continued to play with the children and to just reach out and embrace and be there to the best that he could for anyone who came into contact with him.
How did the man differ from the sort of public persona that we're all aware of? His self-confidence was there. We hear a lot of people talk about this generous man, this kind man, this soft-hearted man. Was he any different privately from how he was in public?
I think those aspects earlier on in his life, I think, as it was pointed out by one of the commentators that I heard on the program earlier, Ali was, when he was very vocal in opposing the Vietnam War, for example, very vocal in opposing a lot of the racial injustice that he and many, many others were experiencing in the United States at the time. He had a very, for some might describe as a very antagonistic, confrontational, abrasive public persona. But even at that time, away from the microphone and behind the scenes, he was very open-hearted, very playful. I think his interactions with the sports journalist Howard Cosell illustrated that. Very open and very willing to share of himself. And those aspects of his personality that were manifested in private during the times that his public persona might have been a little different came to predominate in public and private. He was very consistent, very warm, very open, very compassionate, very charitable, willing to share, very caring, and very much interested in the struggles of others and doing anything he could to help alleviate those struggles. Very playful and private with his children and family members. So that's the man who he was. So I would say at the end you might have, because of the way the media can skew and manipulate images and can project persona, there might have been this inconsistency. But over time, I think there was a total consistency between the public and the private Muhammad Ali. And what you saw was what you got. What you saw when you saw that very kind, gentle, caring, compassionate, charitable, magnanimous spirit. That's what you got in public, and that's what you got in private.
You know the family very well. Do you know at this stage what the plans for the funeral are likely to be? I'm sure there'll be hundreds, if not thousands, of members of the public who would like to pay their respects. Are the family going to have a private affair?
Well, I think those details are being worked out. I don't think I'm free to speak on that right now, but within the next 24 hours, those details will be made public. And I think the situation will be handled in a way that pleasing both to the family and to the public, and that respect the family's right and need for privacy at this very sensitive time, but also acknowledging the fact that Muhammad Ali was the people's champ. And so the people deserve an opportunity to see him off as he journeys onward to the next world in the very best of fashion.
Okay, Imam Zaid Shakir, thank you very much for joining us. It really is appreciated. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. You have a great day.
Thank you.